Thanks for checking out another clip of the Cashflow Contractor. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. Click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. I think a lot of people are probably like, what do you mean owner's assistant? And maybe they understand it. But I think when you think of executive assistant, what comes to mind?
Companies that I have been associated with in the past where the CEO literally had an executive secretary sitting in the hall, literally a gatekeeper. If you weren't in with her, you weren't in the office.
Yeah.
Managed emails, managed all that. Whenever he's saying, hey, we'll figure something out, mention it to so-and-so on your way out and she'll give you a time.
Yeah.
And that I'm not knocking, I'm not making fun of that. It was beautiful. Uh, she knew, essentially she's running the company, not literally, but kind of, you know,
Yeah.
uh, and he knew it, and he was glad to have it. So that's what I think of. And then of course, more recently, not that recently, I mean, 10, 15 years, we've had VAs, virtual assistants,
Yep.
which might be a misnomer. Well, I don't know. Uh, they're real, so they're not virtual. They're not figments, they're not there because you're wearing goggles. Uh, but that has transformed a lot of things.
Mhm.
And owner's assistant, I think you're really the first one I've heard use that vernacular, and you draw a distinction, I think, between a VA and an OA. Or am I
Yeah, and
correct?
an EA for that matter. So executive assistant for me, I think someone really at more of an established corporate setting where, hey, we have, we know exactly who our clients are. We know exactly what our schedule is. It's more predictable. We know like this executive assistant's a gatekeeper. They answer emails, they schedule meetings, they take notes, they maybe delegate tasks, right? Uh, that's the bulk of their responsibility. They optimize the calendar so that the CEO can be as efficient as possible. And for a VA, I see that as really um, I see it as more of a demeaning term for some reason. It doesn't sound very like, uh, what's the word? Like a very valuable asset. It seems like it's like, oh yeah, that's the virtual assistant's job, or it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of credibility with it for some reason to me. And I don't think that most business owners out there need that. I don't think their life is as predictable and organized and you know professional as a executive assistant, right? And I don't think that they need someone who's not qualified and is just kind of the VA in the corner.
Right.
I think they need
Right.
an owner's assistant, someone who's smart, hungry, coachable. They need someone who's adaptable to a variety of settings and to all of the hats that the owner currently wears. And then they need someone who's going to help them be accountable to the priorities that they set and help them to really accomplish those priorities on a day-to-day basis. And at one point that might be sales related, then it may move to more financial related, then it's moving into project management, into HR. It's just kind of all over the place. And so you need someone who's going to be adaptable and be able to support you in all of those functions. Um, so,
Why wouldn't you just hire somebody?
that's
I mean, you are hiring an OA, but
right.
uh,
So why wouldn't you just
literally
hire
what
someone to, uh, you know, start working on your project management? Is that what you're saying
well,
or what?
let me jump back. How do you describe an OA? I mean, what are the features, although they're humans, but what are the attributes that make them an OA and not just a person you just hired?
It's a great question. So the way that I see the OA role um, is one, their primary purpose is to support you and to maximize what you do with your allotted hours in a day, right? So rather than spending time on your email, rather than spending time on your calendar, rather than spending time drafting documents, rather than spending time doing data entry, uh, all of that can be handled by somebody else so that you can be developing business, You can be managing client relationships if that's what your area of focus is. You can be training and developing your staff and coaching them and growing your business. So that's the first and foremost difference is that you can hire the uh, HR professional to manage all of your HR functions, but that may take one thing off of your plate, but um, it's not going to optimize the other areas that are on your plate as well,
I
right?
think, well, that is, I get that, what you're saying. That's good information. I think what with VA, especially using VA,
Mhm.
and if we're in that realm, then we say OA, people might be thinking, oh, they're from another country. Oh, they don't come into the office. I mean, some of those.
Yeah, I think for the owner's assistant, it doesn't really matter where they are unless you are, like, in person a lot and you need someone that's literally at your side because you need them picking up materials from the shop or from the supply house, or you need them meeting with customers or whatever it is. I think the idea of the owner's assistant in it is really that they help you with more of the administrative side. And now so much of the administrative side, whether it's answering calls or it's sending emails to clients, or so much of it is digital anyways. You don't need someone who's in person. But that if that's your preference, you can absolutely have a OA who is local to you. I want to go back to your distinction though. Why wouldn't you just hire someone? And that's it. Typically, what I find for a lot of business owners is they have a responsibility, a hat that they wear, but they can't really justify hiring a full-time person for that role, right? And they could go and outsource it to a different company, and maybe that is the best option, but that's not
Different
always the easiest thing to
company.
do because you what's that?
You said outsource it to a different company.
Yeah, so, like, so for example, let's say, man, we're hiring, like, 2 people a month, right? We can go and use a staffing agency
Oh,
and outsource
oh,
it,
okay, okay,
right?
okay. I'm with you.
Or my option is to hire a full-time HR person, but I don't feel like we have the, um, need for that full-time role right now, right? And for a
Okay.
lot of business owners, there's a lot of areas like that. It's, we need someone to answer the phone, but we get 2 or 3 phone calls a day. It's not rocket. We don't need a full-time secretary. We need someone to do to manage our CRM and to do data entry in there and make sure that everything's organized and up to date. But we don't have a full-time role for that. We need to start posting jobs to Indeed, but we don't have a full-time role. We don't have a full-time role for that. There's all these hats that the owner is wearing and effectively taking responsibility for, but they're not uh, they're not such a big responsibility that it requires a full-time role, and it's maybe not something that they have the overhead availability to hire a full-time role for that. Now, maybe there is, and they just need to hire that service coordinator to be the full-time dispatcher, scheduling jobs, scheduling, meetings for, repairs and for installs and whatever it is, right? Maybe there is that need and they should go hire that person. But sometimes it's just that the owner needs assistance in managing all that they're managing.
Okay. So what I'm hearing a little bit is they might be less than full time. That can be or not, but they're also
Mhm.
doing a hodgepodge of duties that their major intent is to relieve the owner of his or her
Yeah, it's lonely as an
potpourri
owner
of duty.
because you feel like you're the only person that cares as much as you do about the area of responsibilities that you have, right? And it should be that way. You are the owner. You have all of the upside, but you also have all the risk, and that risk weighs on you. And so the owner's assistant responsibility is to come alongside you and to care as much as you care. Hey, we really need to get you know, something in place for our accounting. Like I need reports that I can have all the data on my desk on Monday morning. Okay, I'll go build that report for you and I'll make sure that you have it on your desk every single Monday morning, right? Rather than you fiddling around with getting into your CRM and looking at your leads, and then going into your QuickBooks and seeing what your receivables are and what your where your invoices stand, and you know they can grab all that information for you and care just as much as you do and have that on your desk and have a conversation with you about it. They can be your confidant in that situation, right? Thanks for checking out a clip from the Cashflow Contractor. We have full episodes where we go deep on topics that help you grow a construction business that runs without you so you can have less stress, more time, more money. Now, we've got other videos, other clips, but if you want to check out the full episode for this clip, you can click wherever our editor put it. It might be here, it might be there, it might be over my face. I don't know. But thank you for checking us out. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. So subscribe or check out a full episode wherever you get podcasts.